Hello, this is Russian Beer Stories channel, and today we will tell you 5 cool stories from the 90s. You know, the 90s in Russia were very strange, so put a like and find out how you would be killed in Russia in 90s. Yes, this is also strange, but fun. Here we go! The lives of Russian families changed dramatically in 90s. Here is one of examples of it. My mother worked as a French tutor in a rich family in the 90s. The guy who she was supposed to teach had completely given up on school, so they played computer games all the time, which at the time was absolutely impossible. This lasted for several years, then the family moved, and my mother gave up tutoring and went into computer game development, where she still works as a screenwriter. It was very scary to live in Russia in that time. Even the teachers were afraid. When I was in elementary school, the teacher asked us to solve the crossword puzzle. There was a question with a hole in the right side. It was a famous Russian song about a hedgehog who was whistling with a hole in his right side. I didn't think for long. Well, I wrote the corpse. The teacher was smart, understood all. What else could the son of policeman write in the early 90s? Yes, even in the 90s it was a fun in Russia. What was the fun? Listen to the story. I am a gun with a short haircut, and I have a few scars on my head. They are visible to the naked eye. Many people asked me, where are these scars from? I usually tell all sorts of stories like I got in a fight, saved a kitten from a tree. Sometimes I even tell the story of the Joker, different things in general. But only relatives know that I have these scars since kindergarten, when I tried several times in a row to ride a swing standing without hands, respectively. Fell to the ground and the swing flew to my head. It was in the 90s. We had fun as much as we could. Put a like under this video if you know what a video recorder is, and listen to the following story. In the 90s, I was the most popular person in the yard, because I was the only one with a video recorder and a bunch of movies in poor quality, and with a strange translation. Since my mother did not allow me to bring friends home, every day I went out into the yard, a dozen children gathered around me, and I told them that the movies and cartoons that I had managed to watch. Then I really lost my authority, because another kid also got a VCR, and everyone switched to him. He told much more interesting stories about horror movies with guts and blood. I had only romantic comedies. The next story is very heartbreaking. We warned you. My family's life was very hard in the 90s, like many people. Hungry time, all the supplies ran out, and sometimes we were eating only a loaf of bread for 3-4 days. And then before my birthday it got really bad. My mother was already fainting and crying. We all lost weight wildly, and for next 2 weeks food was negligible, even for my sister and me. I'm not sure whether my parents ate anything back then. I remembered my holiday very well, but understood that it was hard for everyone and kept silent, because I was very afraid for my family. And then at midnight my mother waked me up and invited me to the table, and there was a plate of boiled potatoes and a jar of peas. It was not allowed to eat much at that time, but how delicious it was at that moment. As it turned out, my father went at night to ask for a loan from the neighbors, at least something, and when everyone refused, he sat on a bench in the street, put his head in his hands and sobbed. At this time, some oligarch or bandit was driving by, looked at my father and began a conversation with him about the weather. After 10 minutes, another car drove up, and they took out a bag of potatoes, a couple of bags of flour, buckwheat, sugar, and 10 cans of green peas. Before my father could recover, the men left, and my father quickly ran home with this wealth. Thanks to this case, we lived quietly for another 3 months, and then everything gradually began to improve. Many years have passed, but I still eat ordinary potatoes and green canned peas with tears of happiness. It's scary to imagine, but all our stories are real, and it was very hard for some people in the 90s. Subscribe to the channel and click on the bell, please. This way you won't miss the new videos and stay in touch with us. Goodbye and bless you.